Welcome to the Banff World Media Festival. Your session is about to begin.
Thank you. Thank you. So, my company, Q Digital Media, we represent a lot of leading independent broadcasters, publishers. I like to say that we do a lot of funny shit online. And we produce content, we distribute it, we guarantee the eyeballs against it. You know, and over the past 10 years, I've been a big vanguard for branded content, which is what this is about. And also been looking for a man for 10 years that really has a vision for digital advertising in the digital age. You know, innovation, evolution, revolution, ideation, earned media, analytics. These are all the things that you're about to hear about. You know, I'm honored to introduce a man who's been called the new breed of a CMO, a man who grew up in politics, working for pure government, Jean Chrétien, political communications, and moved to the private sector for Fleishman Hillard in PR and communications, to a current position as one of the youngest guy in the C-suite at one of Canada's largest retailers, Canadian Tire. A company that, you know, if you imagine if you're approached today as a venture capital firm that said, I want to be the largest automotive distributor. I want to compete in the largest tools manufacturing area. I want to become a oil and gas company and open I want to get into financial sector and start credit cards. We want to get into clothing, sporting goods. And basically, Canadian Tire now dominates 22 categories. Duncan is the Senior Vice President of Communications and Corporate Affairs for Canadian Tire Corporation. He's also Chief Marketing Officer for Zani Group Sports, which they acquired, which he was on the acquisition board for that. He sits on the board. He is planning some really innovative things with Forzani Group to use it as his own petri dish to prove a lot of things that he already knows. And he's going to tell you his plans about revolutionary and eventually revolution Canadian Tire. And this is what I've been waiting to hear for 10 years. At a company that's going to plan on spending move 50% of his money that was in television into digital and equal his digital spend in the next 12 months. So I'd like to welcome Duncan Fulton.
Thanks very much. Got a clicker here. We could bring up the presentation, please. It is fantastic to work for a guy like Stephen Wetmore, who's the CEO of Canadian Tire. He was with Bell for a number of years. And perhaps one of his only regrets is when he was with Bell back in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, people were talking about, you know, we're going to need a bigger pipe to stream more content. People were talking about voice over IP. And in some cases, Bell did a very good job of getting there. In other cases, they were a little bit slow. So he's said to us for a couple of years, if we ever get the chance to kind of be at the front of a new wave again, we need to aggressively do that. And in this particular case, we have an opportunity to not just be best in class, but next in class with the latest acquisition we've done in the Forzani Group. So Canadian Tire and buying FGL Sports, and again, this is Sport Chek, Sports Experts, Atmosphere National Sports, Sport Mart, Fitness Source, Nevada Bob's Golf, Hockey Experts. What FGL brought to Canadian Tire, aside from being a great growth platform and a core category like playing, is it gave us access to malls that we were not in. It gave us direct access to that, I'll call it especially the 14 to 35 crowd, although 80% of Sport Chek's customers are probably 14 to 45, and gives us the ability to do things in FGL Sports, which is still a little bit off the grid from the big monster that is Canadian Tire Corporation, to try things and incubate and innovate, and where we succeed, take the best of what we've succeeded in and bring it across the entire business, be it Canadian Tire or Marks or any of our future acquisitions. And inevitably, the notion of what we're doing changes the business model. We have our board retreat later this week, and we've been working on the IT digital technology presentation for the board to talk about 2013. And for 2 or 3 years, we've been saying to our board, you know, there's this big change kind of happening, but it's always been a little bit, we're going to have to deal with it, we're going to have to deal with it. And this year, we're pretty much saying to the board, the water's up to here. and it's moving faster than we ever thought. And frankly, the speed of advancement of technology is changing the speed of change in which consumers look for products and shop. And all of the existing business models, frankly, for most retailers, are almost obsolete. The idea of having 500 people in an IT team that are going to build out monstrous platforms for you for millions of dollars and then roll them out in a couple of years from now, which you'd appreciate over 5 years, is a dead notion. It just really is. Because behind that, there are things that are popping up all over the place. You know, take a guy like an Ali Arsaria with well.ca, who he and I were on a panel last week together. And here's a guy that invented Brick Breaker, sold it, got some money, invented well.ca just to sell consumables to people, decided to innovate on that again and put up that wall in the Toronto subway station that just looks like a picture of a shelf where all you have to do on your way home is click it with your camera, buy your consumable, it gets shipped to your house cheaper than you can buy it at Loblaws or Shoppers or Canadian Tire. What I love about that is not the wall. I love a guy's mind like that that's innovating, because people like him, and hundreds of people like him across Canada, are going to be innovating all the next best things in retail. And that's where we're going to go with Sport Chek. So about a week and a half ago, we announced that we're consolidating many of those banners I mentioned in FGL Sports down to 3 major ones. Sport Chek in most of Canada, Sports Experts in Quebec, and Atmosphere, which really is a blank canvas brand right now, which is designed to go right after Mountain Equipment Co-op and Sale. And we have some work to do on that. But really, we also announced last week we're going to be adding 100 new stores in Canada, or I guess technically at least 100 new stores, because we didn't want to give away all of our competitive intel for Sport Chek. So from a Canadian Tire point of view, and from our CEO's point of view, this is the opportunity to get in and be very different. I view marketing and branding as pretty simple, right? Understand your customer extremely well. Understand the purpose that your brand serves in your customer's life, and then just put them together. And in the retail space, that's usually done at the store level, in the community, and through media channels. And I just want to kind of spin through this. So again, our customers at Sport Chek, we really have about 6 major segments. We have the high-end achiever that's making more than $200,000 a year, spending about $11,000 or $12,000 a year in the category. We have the aspiring achiever that's probably making $100,000 a year and only spends about, I don't know, $3,000 in the category. We have this outdoor customer, and it's interesting to look at it because the motivation of loving the outdoors cuts across these 3 customer bases. But there's one customer that just wants to go biking with her or his family. There's a customer that is an adrenaline junkie, wants to take a helicopter to the top of a mountain and ski down or bike down the other side of it. Then there's that nature lover. And then we have these health and fitness enthusiasts, which are mostly women, mostly middle age. More than half of them have kids out of the house. So we went and looked at, once we really understood who the customer was, and we began to break apart, by the way, this notion that there's one customer. We had this notion for a little while at Canadian Tire that whether you're Canadian Tire or Marks or Sport Chek, you know, it's one company serving one customer. I don't think that's true. I mean, I eat at McDonald's with my kids. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old son. I also eat at high-end restaurants with my wife. I am a completely different customer to those 2 restaurants. I have different needs and different wants out of those restaurants. And if one company owned a McDonald's and a high-end restaurant and decided they wanted to look at me as one customer, they'd probably be blowing their marketing to me completely. Because where I want quick and fast and cheap and just basic out of McDonald's, I want long and high-end and a great experience out of that high-end restaurant. So we looked at our customers. In my politics days, we used to segment the country all the time. And I worked with some great pollsters, as we used to call them. And one thing that they taught me was this notion of segment your audience from like 18 to 35, 35 to 55, and 55 to dead is not really the best way to do it. Your life when you're 18 is completely different than your life when you're 35. So to try to suggest you're going to market to a 20-year gap of customers is crazy. So we broke it down, knowing that most of our customers have college or university education. You're in university and college, 18 to 21, 22 to 25, you're getting your first job, 26 to 29, you're probably meeting the person you're going to spend your life with, 30 to 35, you're probably having kids, 35 to 45, you're spending all your money on your kids. And for us, 80% of our customers are under the age of 45, so we can almost just pause there. So take a look at magazine readership. Take a look at newspaper readership in those top lines. It's dying, if not dead. Meanwhile, TV, still huge. In fact, across all of the age categories, you're still averaging 18, 19, 20 hours a week of TV, an incredibly powerful medium, although obviously changing with PVR and with on-demand services. Then you look online, people using YouTube and Facebook and news sites, and you can see the drop-off really even after the age of 35 and the changing demographics. We put those numbers against our own consumer segments. And even here, if you look at women, health and fitness enthusiasts that actually, they may not use YouTube, but they're on news sites all the time. They're on Facebook all the time, certainly more than reading magazines and newspapers. This isn't to say, though, that print is dead. Take a look at our high-end achiever, our $200,000 professional. 88% of them are reading magazines every week. 64% of them are still reading newspapers. Targeted print is still an important medium, but overall print as a medium is dying. And we looked at our flyers. Canadian Tire is Canadian Tire is the most read flyer in the country. We are the biggest consumer of newsprint after the top papers in the country. And we said, do you always look at a store flyer? And here are the answers across the top by age group. So if you put it all together under the age of 45, about 37% of people say, I read flyers. Of that 37%, we then said, do you go to a store because of what you saw on the flyer? And about 36% of 37% said yes. So I translate that to our Sport Chek customer. It means I'm spending $15 million a year on a flyer that's reaching 36% of 37% of 80% of my customer base. So I'm spending $15 million to put 9% of my customers into my store, which is insane. And you got to change it. The problem, though, is with flyers, and by the way, catalogs is worse. So we canceled our catalog on the Czech side this year. We won't be going back to it. There's digital versions of it that'll work. The problem with flyers, though, it's like the crack cocaine of the retail world, right? Because it's all you've known for like 20 years. You say we're going to change the flyer, it screws up everything. It's not just an advertising thing, because the buying teams buy to the flyer. If you were to take any store's flyer, take a Canadian Tire flyer, Sport Chek flyer, like I can guarantee you that the top right box of the week 17 flyer for the last 15 years has been a shoe at Sport Chek, right? And the buyer knows that every year in week 17, he gets 4 spots in the flyer, and one of them is a top right flyer. He knows how much he sold every year for 15 years. So all he has to do is pick a shoe that's going to comp on last year's shoe in the top right box of week 17 flyer. So now I come in and say to him, Eric, forget the 4 shoes. Give me 50 shoes. We'll do targeted digital advertising on aircanadavacations.com for all of your canvas shoes and flip-flops. And we'll take your 50 off Nike runners and put it onto the Sun Network. And we'll take your full price, full end, high end, full margin shoes and put it on the Globe and Post site. In fact, I can segment 50 shoes. I can segment it by IP address across the country. And he looks at me, he just blinks a lot. Like he can't process it, right? Because he doesn't know how to buy to that. And he goes, well, what's my comp going to be? And you stop and you go, oh my God, I don't know. I can't tell you what your comp is going to be because it's digital, right? It's still all voodoo. But you don't get a voodoo pass in retail just because it's digital. So you got to find a way to build some analytics against it because we're never going to get people, we're never going to get C-suites that for their entire life have put money into TV and print to pull money out of TV and print for this new thing. They're all smart enough to know it's a new thing. But they're also business people. You don't get to the C-suite without knowing how to make money. So they say, how do you make money at it? There's a whole other conversation. I don't actually view social media, by the way, as a tool to make money. That's just a more advanced way of having people talk about you. But largely, from a digital point of view, you have to be able to make money at it. I'm just going to pause on customer for a second and talk about brand. You have to have an extremely, extremely solid view on the purpose of your brand. Simon Sinek has that good TED Talk on YouTube, if you haven't seen it, about the how, what, why. And most people can't answer the why. Why does my brand exist? And we went to take a look at how can we tidy up the Sport Chek brand. Because at the end of the day, how do I make one brand relevant to a nature lover who wants to go canoeing in the same moment as a helijet skier, in the same moment as a hockey player and a basketball player and a baseball player and a fitness trainer and older folks that just want to go walking at night? What ties it all together? So we did a ton of consumer research, and what we landed on is everyone involved in any of these activities is trying to be a better version of themselves. You want to be a better you. Even if you're going to yoga, you want to be a better you. It might be how you look, it might be how you feel, it might be how you think. It's this notion of better you. So we said, okay, from a brand point of view, Sport Chek's going to own better. But even beyond better, when we asked everyone, what do you love about your sport and activity, everyone talked about some kind of inspiration. So we said, okay, it's our brand's job now to inspire you to be a better you. And then you get to get a little bit more narrow on it and say, okay, what is on brand and off brand? And we've put together a series of filters so that everything we do in Chek now has to go through the filter check. Does it inspire, and does it speak to better? But what's interesting, when you take that you have a demographic that's consuming digital media, you take a brand that's about inspiration and a better you take these brand values, these are all the same brand values as digital. You got to be authentic, you have to be accessible, you have to engage people, it has to surprise and delight, it has to be inclusive, it has to be optimistic. So we have actually this absolute sweet spot, because I'll tell you, it's easier to be inspiring about sports than it is lug nuts, right? And light bulbs and other stuff. So we have this easier space here with Sport Chek to say, let's double down on digital. And you're going to begin to see a lot of our new creative this fall that again plays off on that better notion, which is all about your better starts here. And the here is going to either be the moment in sports just before you realize you're better, or the here is going to be Sport Chek. So if you understand your customer, and we do, and you understand the purpose of your brand, now life is easy, just connect it through. The ground zero of all brand experience in retail is really the store. You go to the store, you have a bad experience, all the other advertising, digital, social, PR in the world will not help you. You go to a store, most experiences are really a byproduct of product, price, service, and experience. Because you can rate almost any experience out of 5. You guys will probably leave today and look back at the day and rate it out of 5. So you go, okay, most stuff in life gets like a 3 out of 5 or 3.5 out of 5 because either the product or the price or the service or the experience is off. Last time you went to buy clothes, if you found a great piece of clothing and the service was great but the price was awful, it's not quite a 5 out of 5. If the service was bad, it's not quite a 5 out of 5. Most stuff is a 3 out of 5 because we're Canadian, we're polite. There's also the courtesy 4 out of 5, right? And it's not really a 4, it's like a 3.5, but how's your meal? Oh, it's a 4 out of 5, it's fantastic. So you go from 3 out of 5 to courtesy 4 out of 5 to a real 4 out of 5. But where brands need to be is a true 5 out of 5. Think of the last 5 out of 5 experience you had. It might have been a restaurant, it might have been something. What was true about your 5 out of 5 experience when you left that experience? You had to tell everyone you saw about it. You couldn't help yourself. If the topic came up, whether it was clothing or food or whatever, like, oh my God, I got to tell you about this experience. So what have you done? The people that deliver 5 out of 5 brand experiences create apostles out of their customers. And those customers are pretty much the brand machines for everything. That's why people like Starbucks and other competitor brand and health and fitness and yoga that starts with an L that I won't talk about. It's why they're really good at it. They have customers that are apostles. So the best way to blow that experience starts right in the store. Because if you get into the store and we don't have what you want, in fact, we did research and said, what do you want out of the ultimate shopping experience? And I was really doing this to build out a digital experience inside the store. I said, okay, think Jetsons, like go store the future. What do you want? And all these folks sat down for an hour in focus groups, came back and they said, I want clothes, I want stuff I'm looking for, I want to find, I want it in my size. I'd like a variety of colors, I'd like a knowledgeable staff, and I'd like to get out of the store quickly. And I said, no, you missed the objective. Sent them back, they came back again. They just want the basics. Anything on top of the basics, you're delivering an awesome branded experience to them. So we are going to be opening a new concept store later this year, early next year, where we're attempting to change everything in retail. We are starting with saying replace all POP with digital, all POP with digital. And it can't look like you're just puking digital into the store, so it has to be done really well. There has to be nice millwork around it. When you go over to the Adidas rack, there needs to be a tablet there playing Adidas content. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a poster or a piece of cardboard in a store today should be digital. Now, that creates a nightmare content moment behind the scenes, and that's when you suddenly realize you're not fully equipped on content. But you should be able to, on Masters Weekend, hit a button and turn the entire store into a Masters theme, or on a Final Four weekend, turn the whole store over, or be able to tie your digital advertising and your social media campaign, your PR campaign, your TV advertising to exactly what your store looks like with the hit of a button. We're looking at getting tablets in our staff's hands so that when someone's standing at the shoe wall holding the new Air Jordan Nike shoe, they're going, oh, I don't know if I should buy it or not. Staff can say, have you seen the latest 60-second spot from Nike? Play it for them live, close the sale, right? We're looking at being able to project onto the window of the store, so if you're walking by on the street, you can actually interact with the window like an iPad. You know, we're looking at using new technology where if we want to put inspirational videos in the store window, you just click the code with your phone, the playlist comes up on your phone, and you just pick which video you want to watch, and it plays it right there in the window for you. Totally ownable window displays. As we've gone through this, by the way, what we've seen is every group we talk to that has a new idea, they tell us about some other group that has a new idea. And so as we talk to our board about we have to completely change the business model because of digital and because of everything that's changing, we're realizing we also have to get more nimble and more innovative. So one of the things that we'll be launching later this summer into the fall is an open call for innovation. And with Chek, we're going to probably do it twice a year. And it was really a combination of sponsoring a class at the Ryerson Digital Media Zone 4 months ago, where this fourth-year class had to come up with retail solutions for the store. And it was great, $10,000 sponsorship, and the class came up with like augmented reality wayfinding in stores and all kinds of neat stuff. And I'm chatting with Ali from Well, and he's come up with great stuff. So we're saying, look, put everyone in a room, big or small. If you're Johnny from the couch or if you're the biggest players in the industry, we'll brief you on what we're doing, where our business is going, and we'll say we're going to fund 2 next big ideas in retail, in the shopping experience that probably involve digital. And whether it's a $30,000 app or a multi-million-dollar build, it doesn't really bother me because we're going there. So just bring back the good ideas, we'll pick 2, we'll fund it, and then 6 months later we'll do it again. It's this notion of constant innovation. But our objective, at least on the store level, is assuming you get the staff right, assuming you got the merchandise right. As a marketer, we have all the tools we now need to get the branding right and be inspiring inside the store, and that's where we're going. From a community level, we have a lot of sponsorships. This is only a few that Chek has. And it's like a smorgasbord of logos, which is the most uninspiring thing I've ever seen. So we're a partner with MLSE. MLSE is awesome, right? They've got the Marlies, they've got the Leafs, they've got the Raptors, they've got Toronto FC, they've got the Air Canada Centre, they've got everything. And we have a partnership with them that puts our logo on the boards. Who cares? Who really cares? So we said, look, let's take a first shot at trying to use digital, use content, try to bring the partnership to life. So we got Clark MacArthur from the Leafs to come into store and pretend to be the employee of the month, try to sell his own jersey. Let you watch this.
Hi, I'm Clark MacArthur with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Today I'm Phil, employee of the month at Sport Chek. What are you getting? Some sticks. Oh yeah? A handy shoot. Right. Ready? Yeah. Nice little toe drag backhand shell.
Trying to.
Never played, so. No. More of a racquetball guy, but Don't mind the cameras if Phil makes us Employee of the Month. So did you look at any of the Leaf gear? It's 20% off Leaf gear here today. No? No, not a Leaf fan? Go ahead, Phil. Hi, how are ya? You need a hand with anything?
No, I'm fine right now.
Looking at some Leaf jerseys, huh? She's a Lupul jersey? Can't beat that.
So who are you anyways?
I'm Phil.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm Phil. I swear, yeah.
Phil who?
Phil Johnson.
You're Clark McCarthy, is that right?
Phil, Employee of the Month. Someone else said that too. Same hair, same hair. So this one slips, you said? You want to try it on?
Yeah.
You got to see how you can move it, Nick. Let's,
Yeah, let me tote this up to the front for you then.
well, enjoy the rest of your day. Attention all customers. It's 20% off all Leaf sale for the rest of the day. Really got me working here now. That's a nice shoe right there. Anything else you're interested in? 20% off all the Leaf stuff. You want to head over there and take a look? Or MacArthur's on a bit of a roll on. You ever see him? He's going pretty good right now. Yeah? We're going to do it? Yeah. Yeah? What a beauty this guy is. Put it inside. Want it inside, or do you want to pull it over your back? No? Inside? Okay.
We finally broke the egg. Sold my first MacArthur jersey.
Don't worry about these cameras. I was Employee of the Month, so they're just doing an audio thing on me. Yeah, so. All I do is sell. All I do is win.
You know when you break in your skates, you don't want to.
Yeah. I don't know what that's like, but I'm guessing you're probably comfy once you. Okay, well, Phil, let me know if you need anything.
Great, thanks.
Enjoy the day. I mean, I had like 4 or 5 sales in 40 minutes. I mean, can't really beat that. And I sold a MacArthur jersey. It's not easy.
So when we put our Sidney Crosby ad from last year just online, it got 40, 50,000 hits. This got 70,000 hits in about 3 weeks. And the Leafs took it to the Board of Governors meeting at the NHL and held it up as a new best practice for partnerships. So taking sponsorships and actually doing more with them and developing content out of them. A couple other videos I'm just going to skip over here to talk about media channels. Flyers are a reality today. What you're seeing on the left is our old flyer. You're seeing on the right, at least what our new flyer at Chek is going to look like for the time being. Redesigned it to be more on brand. We've taken lessons from the digital space and put it into the flyer. So we'll have probably 10 plates across the country with community event calendars in it, where we can try to program community events, be more relevant, push people online. But what we really did was said, there's something about the flyer experience that should be replicated. So what we've done is we've worked with Facebook, their top folks out of New York and in Toronto, and Steve Irvine and crew are going to be here later today and tomorrow. We've built something that no retailer in North America has built, where we've said, let's put 10,000 products into the system, let's put 150 offers a week into the system, and let's let you go on and say, I only want to see health and fitness products, I only want to see new products, or I only want to see products that are 40% off or better. Don't show me anything else. And then what we'll do is ping your cell phone twice a week or your email and say, we have new products for you. You'll go to your Facebook Sport Chek page. You'll see the new yoga mat, 50 off, $19.99. You can like it, you can share it, you can review it, you can buy it through the e-commerce site. We have places on the page for our vendors to be able to do branded content right there on the site. You can share stuff, there's polls, and really the objective is be able to show people a lot more product that they care about so you don't have to search for a lot of other product that you don't care about. This will be launching later this fall, and again, so far no one is doing it. Again, this is, in my mind, an example of the next thing, not the best-in-class thing. Everyone is doing a digital flyer, everyone's doing a PDF of a flyer, everyone's doing a dynamic flyer. This actually puts all the choice for all the product in the entire lineup in your hands, and with your mobile device, you can download a coupon from that and take it in store, and you can have the exclusive deal because you're part of our online group. Digital advertising, this year we decided to start spending 100 grand a week on digital advertising and just begin to figure it out, like really figure it out. We've tried cost per click, cost per engagement, behavioral, Pictella. We've gone across the board and we're beginning to run analytics on it. What we are seeing is we have to be able to build better analytics out of all of our digital advertising. It's great to get reports out of this stuff that says, here's how many click-throughs you have, and here's how many views you have, and here's how many impressions you have. I don't care. How much money did I make off it? We have to be able to make money off of digital advertising unless it's a brand piece, in which case there's other ways to measure the equity of your brand. So we said the only way we're ever going to get money out of print and out of the flyer is to be able to hold up real measurement against, you know, kind of older school things. So got to hire some money balls. So I've gone out and found 3 great analytics minds. One started 3 weeks ago, one starts next week, one is starting in 2 weeks from now. Their first job is to go into the old-fashioned Cognos finance system and pull finance data out of everything. So if we're going to go out and sell in a digital ad this glass, 8 weeks before we ever advertise this glass, I'm making money on it. We're selling the glass in the store. So you set a baseline of profitability. Here's my gross profit on this glass. Now I'm going to do a digital ad against this glass for 20 grand. Great. I better get at least a 20 grand lift off that baseline, otherwise I've just destroyed shareholder value. So we said step A, on every single thing we do that touches product, build an 8-week baseline. Now measure the net lift in profit once we advertise against it. And what we've discovered in early testing is if the advertisement's only good for a week or 2, the actual net lift in profit continues for 3 or 4 more weeks before it settles back into the baseline. So then all you do is you measure the net lift in profit all the way back down to the baseline, and you now have a financial ROI from the channel. Where the analytics really comes in is when you've done enough of these after 6 months, you go back and you do a regression analysis. You say, you know what we're discovering? Shoes really do well in CPE on the Cascal network, but outerwear does fantastically well in Google, but only in Southwest Ontario, but not the rest of the country. And all you need to do is run back-to-back-to-back regression, so the next time I come out and say, quick, I want a Columbia outerwear ad online, the analytics guys say, great, Columbia outerwear by region has to be on this channel in this kind of format to maximize your sales lifts, and we can give you a projection for what it's going to be based on the last 10. Here it is. So that's where we're going on analytics. So the game plan is, as going into next year, we're going to pull at least a few $1 million out of the flyer spend and put it into digital with the benefit of being able to hold up an ROI that shows that digital has a bigger impact on sales than traditional print. Commerce website, I say commerce because so many C-suites are freaking out about their e-commerce, whatever, mobile commerce, smart TV commerce. There's so many different ways that commerce is blowing open. Again, this is why you need that innovation out there. And finally, I'll just talk about mass media before I wrap up. On the big advertising, like think TV big advertising, we've just wrapped up 4 spots for this fall. We said back to the brand piece, TV is an inspirational medium. It's not meant to put a $79.99 snowboard on TV. It's just really uninspiring. That's what the other channels are for. So we've said we're either going to do 30-second category authority ads or 60-second brand position ads. But all of our TV spots for this fall will have embedded digital content for digital TVs. On top of that, though, I put a challenge to the team this spring. I said, I want to produce, outside of the big, impactful Hollywood kind of advertising, I want to produce a $30,000 ad and only run it digitally. And my poor guys at Sidley, who are fantastic, they kind of freaked out a little bit and blinked a lot. And I said, seriously, just go down to Queen and Spadina, do a soccer thing, get 4 freestylers, dress a couple up in suits, dress a guy up as a bike messenger, just do a spot. And what we did is we did this spot, and I'm going to close out by showing you the spot. And again, this was all about testing. So much of this is Wild West new. We said, let's test it. We said, let's create this spot, do a 15-second version of it. and do a, whatever it was, I think it's like an 85-second version. Put the 85-second version onto Facebook for 5 days. Organically, let's see how many hits we get. Now do paid Facebook advertising against it, and it gets more hits. Now do 1 day of YouTube. We're across that banner, we do a 15-second spot, get your 9 million impressions for $38,000 for 1 day on YouTube, and see how many people that drives. And in our particular case, we had 7,000 views organically. We screwed up the Facebook buy. We're supposed to do a 40K buy. They did a 4K buy. They missed a 0. But on the 4K for Facebook, sorry, Steve from Facebook, we got 5,000 more views off $4,000 of advertising. We did the YouTube spot for 38K, confirmed the 9 million impressions on the 15-second spot, and drove 58,000 views of the 85-second spot in 1 day. So you're going to see us probably doing 8 to 10 of these a year now, but the difference is we'll probably put maybe $500,000 of digital buy against this through different channels. What I don't know yet is the impact of someone choosing to watch a 90-second spot on YouTube versus fast forwarding through a 30-second spot on TV. I'll just show you the fuller spot here. So just as a closing comment, I think we're going to do some Q&A. Last year, our total digital spend was probably about 4% of total marketing spend. This year, we've pushed it to about 25% of total marketing spend. And if I'm not at least upwards or past 50 by this time next year, then I'm doing something horribly wrong, because that's where people are consuming media. And the only thing that's going to slow me down, slow you down, slow others down, is being able to measure and analyze the impact of digital. Because we don't get a free pass just because it's hard to measure right now. Other than that, our game plan is to go as digital as we possibly can with this brand, provide inspiration for a better you, and try to change the game completely, not only in marketing, but in retail. So I'll pass it back over to David. Happy to take Q&A. Thanks very much.
That's great. That's great. Grab a seat, please.
Sounds good.
So we're going to go to the crowd for a couple of questions, go to the audience. I was going to just throw something out. You know, given that we have a lot of producers here today, when you're looking kind of the next best practice, next best thing, and when you're looking at involving, some of these cool ideas for content, how do you see content fitting not only into your retail experience, obviously at the store level where you capture the consumer first, but also when you're looking at it from a brand experience?
Content is everything, everything. It used to be like that Nike Air Jordan shoe would come in the door, and we would get it, photograph it for the flyer, tidy it up for the flyer, and store that image. That now we are building a dedicated content group inside the marketing group. I had originally, as part of the reorg I just did, put 5 people against it. That was about 3 months ago. Knowing what I know now, I'm probably going to have to put upwards of 12 people against it to be able to just manage the content just on this one brand. Because now when that shoe comes in the door, we have to also collect against that one shoe, every 30-second spot, every 60-second spot, the documentary that Nike has, the 12 bloggers that are talking about the shoe, access to all of the social communities. So I'm going to have to provide access to that content in the social flyer. I'm going to have to link to it in our digital advertising. When we do something with Nike, like that spot at the end, that's only, again, a 30K spot to produce, everything is going to be run off content. So in fact, the content group inside the marketing group is probably one of the most important groups I'm focusing on right now. Content is everything.
Yeah, I find that really interesting because not only are you becoming a content creator and bringing in outside producers, but you're actually becoming the distributor of the content.
Correct.
Going out to the audience, is there anybody out there who might have a question, please?
I have a question. Two questions. One is, if I hear you right, the
We have a mic here. We have a mic coming.
Hi. If I hear you right, the Facebook campaign didn't work too well. And the second and if you can elaborate on that compared to YouTube. Second question is, this morning we heard about Macy's using QR code. So I wonder if you guys have tested in a local area and see, or what's your thought on using QR code?
I answer both. Facebook, and I love the Facebook guys. We've done a lot of work with them. Facebook is, for me, Facebook is great for brand. Facebook is great to push people to a branded experience, push people to my Facebook app, push people to that soccer ad. Where we've tried to do classic, let's sell a bike on Facebook, it's failed. It's failed really badly. Facebook is doing a lot of things to get better at that, including coupon downloads and redemptions. And to be fair to them, we didn't have, and many retailers don't, the right metrics in place to be able to really test the sell-through on that. But from everything I've seen for us so far, Facebook is phenomenal at brand, phenomenal for social, and bad for selling individual products. On the QR code piece, I think there's a lot more that can be done about QR codes. The thing that's exciting me right now is augmented reality. And some of the recent stuff I've seen in being able to go into a store, have our app, again, walk up to that Nike or Adidas section, hold your phone up, and be able to look at branded content through augmented reality, which I think could take the experience one past a QR code. But again, all of this is so new. For me, as soon as we realize that we actually don't know what we don't yet know, then you're in the right place. And the problem when you're a big, big brand is that doesn't fly in the C-suite. It's why C-suites freak out about social media, because they say, well, how much money can I make in social media? And at the end of the day, social media is just people talking about your brand. They've talked about your brand for 100 years. You can just track it now. So at the end of the day, I think QR codes have a long way to go yet for what they could do, but frankly, I think augmented reality is a big new one too.
Right here.
Hi, I have actually a question. Quite impressed by what you put together, and what I'm really curious about is how you put all the technology together for not only syncing your campaigns on all these channels, but also measuring the success actually, and having it targeted everywhere.
So sorry, the question is how we pull on
how you put all the technology. Where do you get it from? Do you develop it? Do you buy it? How do you put it together?
Yeah, it's a total test and learn right now, to be honest. We even take a content management system. CTC is going to be getting a company-wide content management system. So then you narrow it down to two. And then just as you're about to pick one of those two, Forrester publishes something that like a third supplier is now the best in the industry and they're not on your list of two. And you go, God, so then you're in a completely unrelated meeting with Transcon, and Transcon drops out, they've just spent a couple $1 million building out a content management system to provide as SAS to clients. So again, it's so many people are in the space, and there's so many competing things. And what we've discovered with our store is we said, look, we're going to go with one store for this total digital experience. We're going to pick a screen provider. We're going to pick a content integrator. We're going to pick this team that's going to do it, we're going to do it with one store. We're going to learn everything. We're going to mess some stuff up. We're going to be brilliant at other stuff. Once we know everything, then we'll go out and probably do the RFP for the entire network. But at least we'll know what to ask for. And in so many of these cases, there really are 6 or 7 options, but they all differ a bit. And I'm open to someone else having a better solution to it. It is a true test and learn culture. But that means it's a change management culture in your C-suite. Because most C-suites don't buy test and learn. They buy fully baked business plans. And if you want to do a fully baked business plan around most of what we do in this room, then we're either kidding ourselves or we're lying, because it's impossible to do a fully baked business plan on digital right now. There's so many unknowns, so many things are changing, the costs are never in line, the time is never on time. You just have to embrace a whole new reality and a whole new journey. And those that do will innovate, and those that don't will stall. But no matter what happens, digital is moving forward, so you have to be there.
I think we're out of time, but I wanted to thank Duncan very much. It's exciting to have such a young guy, the youngest guy at a billion-dollar corporation, turning on a marketing ship and experimenting and creating kind of a Silicon Valley of his own up here in Canada. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.